Hey, everybody, we got new uniforms for 2027 Field of Dreams game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going all pewter. What are we talking about there? The St. Louis Cardinals have brought back the Navy caps. The White Sox Southside uniforms have returned. We're going to take a look at your comments and suggestions. Paul's got his minor league minute, this time focusing on the El Paso Chihuahuas. And of course, we'll give you all the latest with the Bridgeport Islanders this week on episode 25 of the SportsLogos.Net podcast. Hey, everybody, your host, Chris Creamer from SportsLogos.Net here, fresh off oral surgery last week. And as you can hear, a bit of a success. Joined, as always, by podcast Paul Caputo, live from Colorado. Paul, how you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Well, Chris, I'm glad to see you off the IL and back behind the microphone.
Yeah, no, it was rough for a couple of days. I've had a couple of surgeries this year, nothing super serious, and I thought this one would be the easy one, and it turned out to be the hard one. And I am happy to say no more painkillers. So
Hey, good for you. This episode's a couple hours late because of that. We're recording on the day that we're dropping here on a Wednesday. So normally by now, this episode would already be out. So if you're listening a few hours late, we apologize, but give Chris a break. He was having surgery.
Come on, it's hard to talk when you have stitches in your mouth.
That's true. That old truism.
I think I just wrote a country song. Hard to talk when you got stitches in your mouth. Come on, Paul, let's sing it out.
We've got some great new fodder for the jingles that we include on this episode. Episode 25, Chris. We've made it to a quarter century. Our tribute episode to Tommy John, who recently passed at age 83. Yes. He wore number 25 for many years. Andrew Jones, Jim Tomei, obviously Barry Bonds. Carlos Delgado, your Carlos Delgado. Buddy Bell from way back. It's a lot of Bell. Yeah, and of course Bobby Bonds. Both Barry and Bobby Bonds were number 25. Barry for a very short time. What about some non-baseball? You have any non-baseball 25s?
Well, I always go to hockey, and Joe Newendike wore 25. One of my favorite players when I was a kid was Vincent Damphousse, who wore 25. A couple other guys. Kevin Stevens wore 25. Chris Pronger wore 25. I wonder if either of us could name a football player who wore 25.
What about Reggie Bush?
I know Reggie Bush. He played for the New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints have a game coming up on December 20. I just happen to know this off the top of my head, Chris, that the New Orleans Saints are going to be playing on December 20 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are going to be wearing some pewter colored uniforms. What in the world? First of all, pewter I associate with like candle holders, so I was not thinking that we would see pewter as a description for uniforms.
What anniversary is pewter the gift for?
That is 3.5 years. You get your partner when you've been together. What would that be? 42 months. You get a pewter candle holder.
Would you like to know the real answer?
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
It's actually for the 10th anniversary.
No kidding. You get pewter stuff on the 10th anniversary.
It'd be great. Well, because the Buccaneers, it's not their 10th anniversary, but it'd be awesome if they wore this for their 10th anniversary. That'd be a little nice tie-in.
That's right. So we're focusing on this word pewter, though, but there's a lot going on here. Not the least of which is that this new uniform, and we'll talk about the new uniform, but this new uniform is knocking out, I would say, a very well-liked retro uniform that is part of the Bucks rotation. Chris, I'm going to let you take it from here. What are the Bucks doing?
Well, they're getting rid of one of their creamsicle throwbacks, which is a crime in itself.
Yeah.
And replacing it with it's a uniform that makes sense for what the Buccaneers wear. However, let's be honest, an all gray uniform. And it's hard to get excited about an all gray uniform. We've talked about this.
But what about an all gray Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform? I mean, come on.
Gosh. Well, the Bills did this, except they at least had the sense to wear a blue helmet. The Buccaneers are going to wear, gray helmet, gray jersey, gray pants, and they're replacing a creamsicle jersey for this all gray. Again, it makes sense for their identity, makes sense for their modern identity, but is it really the way to go? I don't know. a lot of Buccaneers fans seem to be happy with it. So who am
Hmm.
I to argue with fans of the team? But yeah, it's just boring. I find it boring. Is it piratey? Do pirates wear pewter? Do pirates wear pewter? Hmm.
They
You
plunder
just
Pewter
they plunder pewter.
prolifically.
You and I are working on a tongue twister here. We have tongue twisters and country music albums, and
What if the Buffalo Bills, wearing their nickel gray uniforms, were to play the Tampa Bay Pewter uniforms? We would finally have the answer to who is the champion of the dull gray metal competition.
I think what would happen is the NFL would turn it into some sort of promotion and they would give it a name and there would be special patches applied to the uniforms.
And it would be the Tuesday late afternoon game. NFL
Yes,
Tuesday
tune
late
in.
afternoon.
Let's tune in for Tuesday afternoon football where the Pewter Buccaneers play the Nickel Bills.
I think the fact that we haven't actually just apart from saying that these uniforms are just all gray, it sort of speaks to how much of a kind of non-story this is. Like I got to tell you, Chris, I'm a big fan of the website SportsLogos.Net. This is not one I would have clicked on.
Oh,
This,
come on.
it's no blue ballers, that's for sure.
Oh dear. See,
Yeah,
you're a shameless self-promoter, Paul.
it's true. It's true. There was a minor league baseball team playing as the Blue Ballers. The Mississippi Mud Monsters are playing as the Blue Ballers to promote awareness of testicular and prostate cancer. Chris, we're not talking about that. And we said we actually were not going to talk about that. So let's get back to this
Mm.
all pewter Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform that has things like numbers and stripes on it.
Oh my. Okay. This is groundbreaking stuff from the NFL. I think honestly, the bigger story is that they've dropped one of the creamsicle throwbacks in order to make
Yeah.
this happen. But let's be clear, they are keeping one of the creamsicle throwbacks. Paul, do you happen to know which one they're keeping? I can't remember. It's in the story, but you didn't click
The
on the article, you
The
said.
white
So
road version of their creamsicle throwback uniforms are here to stay for another season. They're going to wear them against Los Angeles, the Chargers, on December 6th.
at home, I hope.
But it's their white road version of the creamsicle throwbacks. Are they wearing
Why
them at
keep a
home?
throwback uniform and only wear it on the road?
I'm just saying what they are. Listen, I am telling you what author Andrew Lind said on this website. But
Paul,
hey,
I
let's.
fully subscribe to the theory that we should always shoot the messenger.
Andrew. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the Buccaneers are playing the Chargers
December
on
6th.
December 6th at Tampa Bay. Okay, so
Okay, good.
the local Tampa Bay faithful will be able to see their throwback uniforms, their road throwback uniforms on December 6th. That's something at least. And I'm going to be honest, I think the road white versions of the creamsicle uniforms, I think they look better,
Mhm.
but it's more interesting to see the creamsicle tops.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is sort of, like I always will tie this back to baseball, right? Like we're seeing the historically road blues
Hmm.
being worn as home uniforms because fans just like them, right? Like, so the whole notion of, these retro uniforms having designations for road versus home are, that those designations are out the window, I think, when you're talking about retro uniforms.
Well, and here's an interesting fact about the Tampa Bay white creamsicle uniforms.
Yeah.
They were the only uniforms they wore in their expansion season.
Oh,
They never wore the orange version. So perhaps I'm going to say there's a special attachment to these particular road whites to the local Tampa football fans,
because it's what they wore when we
exclusively in
were
their first
kids.
season. Yeah, when we were kids. And what was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers record again that first season?
They were 0 and 14, Chris. They
There you
they were
go.
winless in those
Memories of a winless expansion season.
back when teams only played 14 games too.
Yeah, I wish I knew how many they play now. The New Orleans Saints, as we mentioned, the
Mhm.
Buccaneers are wearing these uniforms on the 20th against the Saints. We're going back to the pewter uniforms here.
Okay.
The Saints are celebrating their 60th anniversary this year, so they'll be wearing a special patch for that game.
Okay.
And can you name what anniversary the 60th anniversary is? What gift do you give someone for a 60th wedding anniversary?
I'm gonna say that that's like a brushed steel.
Hmm. You're going to last 60 years and you're just going to give someone some brushed steel?
At that point, you've got all the other metals. Like, what else do you need? Get some brushed steel.
I think with these anniversary gifts, there's a traditional and there's a modern, right?
Oh, I
Like
see.
traditional is always something like cotton or paper, things that really have no use today.
Yeah.
But actually, the traditional one for 60th is diamond,
Oh,
and the modern one is crystal. So we're gonna have crystal versus pewter, a 60th versus a 10th on December 20th. I presume in Tampa
except
Bay.
not really a tenth. That's just the color of their uniforms. Yeah.
Let's point out they're actually pewter colored. They're not actually made of pewter.
And the link, that's a great point. That would be
Mhm.
kind of an advantage and a disadvantage to just wear like they're just wearing like knight's armor out there, right? Like they're just
Well, I
running
do
around
remember
in metal.
when I was a kid, Paul, there was I had it was either Mad or Cracked or one of those old magazines. And there was a section on about how NFL teams are going to start wearing uniforms based on their team name.
Yeah.
So, like the Eagles were dressed as like Eagle mascots, and the players who complained the most were those who played for the Jets because they just had a big giant jet sticking out of their chest.
That's very funny. Chris, anything else you want to wrap up here with this these Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because we've got some other stuff going on.
The Buccaneers have several different colors. Pewter is one of them, and it shouldn't be a main jersey color.
That's-
Thank you.
All right. Well, bring back the creamsicle. We'll see how long these all pewter uniforms and
The
pewter helmets last.
the orange is in their color scheme. Why not wear an orange?
Wear the
Everyone wants the
orange.
orange.
Right.
Wear the orange. Wear an orange version of the modern set and continue on this trend of mixing throwback and modern uniforms because it seems to be working. So why fight it, Tampa Bay? Why?
Don't fight it.
Embrace the dark side, but not the pewter side.
Nice. Chris, as you know, the Field of Dreams game just took place in Iowa in a cornfield on a movie set. The Phillies won that game and then haven't lost since. And the
Oh,
Phillies fans online are talking about the power of the corn here, that the Phillies have won 5 games.
well, that's awfully corny, Paul.
Very nicely done.
Hmm.
The Phillies uniforms looked as goofy as I thought they would. Those are just some goofy uniforms that they wore. The Twins looked just like they were just wearing Twins uniforms. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to
Mm-mm.
talk about they have announced that on August 12, 2027, if there's a baseball season, that the Boston Red Sox will be playing the Kansas City Royals. And we have some items that have already been unveiled for that. The Red Sox unveiled a B that looks like it is from the same font as the Phillies P that they were wearing, just like a very blocky B. And then Kansas City has unveiled even more than that. They've unveiled uniforms.
Yeah, and Kansas City falls into Minnesota Twins territory here,
Yeah.
where they've just worn the same uniforms pretty much throughout their entire history. So, given that I guess they had to stay within Kansas City Royals history and they couldn't tap into, say, the Monarchs or heck, why not? Let's say the Kansas City A's. I guess they did about as best as they could, and they introduced 1969 inaugural season Kansas City Royals uniforms, which pretty much look the same as what they wear now. There's some changes to the word mark. The position of where the R is relative to the rest of the word Royals is different. There is piping around the collar of the jersey, which is not present now. There is no number on the front of the jersey, which there is now. And they added some textured design pattern to the base of the jersey to make it look more like it's that sort of like that flannel that they used to wear back in the 50s and 60s, which I like. I think that's a pretty
Hmm.
cool addition. And it's one way to make this stand out a little bit from the actual current Kansas City Royals uniforms. One thing that the 69 Royals uniforms are missing that I really don't understand why they're missing is the 1969 patch that all Major League Baseball teams wore to
Mm.
celebrate the 100th anniversary of Major League Baseball, which is where the current MLB logo came from. Why not add that as a patch on the sleeve?
Hmm.
And Paul, I'm really, really, really hoping the answer isn't because now we can wear two ad patches for the Field of Dreams game.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Now, didn't they just wear the Centennial patch from uniforms that the Phillies wore in the 1939, 40, and 41. Why we keep celebrating 100 years of things at different times.
Yes. Well, there's many baseball has many centennials.
Yeah, it's true.
Um, so what the Phillies celebrated and what the rest of Major League Baseball celebrated in 1939 was the 100th anniversary of the invention of baseball. What
Mm,
they used to think baseball was invented in 1839. So in 1939, they're like, hey, it's 100 years of this sport.
yeah.
In 1969, they were celebrating what they're calling the 100th anniversary of Major League Baseball. It's really more the 100th anniversary of the first professional baseball team
Okay.
because
Makes
there
sense.
wasn't really Major League Baseball in
No.
1869.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, as we know it now, didn't really come about until I guess when the American League started up, 1901.
Mm,
And even then, you could argue, yeah, but it wasn't really one league until like 2000 or something, right? Like it
right.
took a really long time before the two leagues became unified.
In
Um,
Philadelphia, we point to 1883 because that's when the
yeah,
Phillies.
that's when the Phillies first started, right?
Yeah.
The National League started 1876, which is what the Cubs are celebrating this year, 150.
Oh,
And disappointingly, Paul, the National League teams are not acknowledging it's the 150th anniversary of the National League whatsoever, which is, come on,
that's
excuse for a
be
patch.
that's because we have designated hitters now, and no one really believes it's the National League anymore.
This is a whole nother debate.
It certainly is. I do like this. I mean, I think it's interesting that the Royals uniforms that were unveiled do kind of look like, hey, that's just what the Royals wear. But there's, like you say, there's something about them that sort of evokes that, those early historic Kansas City Royals days. And then of course the Red Sox, they'll they'll
Hmm.
they'll go way, way back. That'll be cool to
Yeah,
see.
so based on the logo the Red Sox unveiled as part of this, which is just like a basic red block B, it's really boring.
Yeah,
And it does look like the P that the Phillies wore this
right.
year.
Yeah.
The Red Sox wore that B from top of my head, I think it's like 33, 34 to 36, something like that. So we're talking mid
hmm
1930s,
hmm
and they wore three different uniform styles with that set. Two that said Boston, one that said Red Sox, and there are two different fonts. One is kind of like a more rounded serif font. Another one is block that matches the B on it. I'm hoping they go with that rounded serif font just because it looks a little more interesting,
hmm
as interesting can be in the 1930s. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and find out because for some reason the Red Sox chose not to unveil their uniforms alongside the Royals.
Huh. Well, it's an interesting point that you make when you say as interesting as Major League Baseball uniforms could be from that time period, because
Mhm.
this is we're throwing back to an era when branding in sports just was not that big a deal, right?
Mhm.
Like, so we're trying to create this sort of buzz around like, check out these throwback uniforms in a way where we care way more about it now, probably than they did then. And so
Yeah.
that's an
Well,
interesting
and also
phenomenon.
consider the setting, right? Like
Sure.
it's a cornfield in Iowa. It's supposed to look old and traditional, and the Phillies uniforms they match that. The Red Sox uniforms, presuming they're faithful to the 1930s design that we think they will be, that'll match that nicely. It's almost like the '69 Royals uniforms, although I like them, they will feel a little too modern in such a setting. So I do wish that the Royals were able to go back maybe a little further, 20s, 30s, and just wear like a faux back version of what'll match the Red Sox uniforms a little better in terms of era and time.
I have a larger question about the Field of Dreams game, and it's a little uncomfortable for me to ask this question because I like the Field of Dreams game. I like the sort of nostalgia around it. I like that Kevin Costner is involved in doing the voiceovers and that sort of thing. How did it come to pass that Major League Baseball just decided, like, oh, we're going to embrace this one like tourist site and this movie and build this big nostalgic annual event around it? How did they choose that over, any other the natural or any other like why does the Field of Dreams game exist, I guess is my question.
My guess, Paul, and this is based on nothing other than I'm guessing, is that they saw the success of the NHL's Winter Classic,
Uh-huh.
and they thought, what is baseball's version of a frozen pond?
Hmm.
Which is what the Winter Classic was based on. We're playing outside. It's all like frozen pond themed, just pond hockey. And somebody at Major League Baseball probably said, "What's baseball's version of this? How can we get in on this?" And they probably said, "Well, what about like you're just playing in it?" They probably went through a few of them. Probably like, "Oh, can we do like the Sandlot? Can we do Field of Dreams?" And they probably figured Field of Dreams was an easier way to have stands and actual people sitting there. And I'm pretty sure that's probably how the Little League Classic started too. They're like, oh, well, we
Hmm.
have the Little Leagues. We can do that. Okay, how do we expand on this? Oh, we can do Field of Dreams, put in a cornfield. We can build a
Yeah.
fake second stadium to put more seating in there and make a little more money off of it.
Yeah.
That's just my hunch. And actually, my wife Kristen and I were talking about this the other day. I'm wondering when basketball will do something similar in the NBA.
Hmm.
And I thought it'd be cool if they like set up, maybe inside a stadium, like an outdoor stadium, and did like a street ball kind of court with like, you got the
Like,
chain mesh on the nets,
yeah.
and you make the court look like pavement and asphalt, and then just have it and play outdoors.
Right? That would be super interesting to see like an outdoor pickup style NBA game, right?
Yeah.
How interesting.
As
Huh.
long as it's not shirts versus skins themed uniforms.
Nice. Well, okay. I like that explanation. They're sort of looking for something to be nostalgic about the sort of origins of the sport. And they could have gone with a sandlot. They could have had like, the Brewers and the Cardinals are going to play wiffle ball for one game and it's going to count in the standings.
Now you're just giving Banana Ball a new idea.
Oh no, 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 no. Chris, speaking of baseball, we're already speaking about baseball with the Field of Dreams game, but there's a couple other things going on. Just I wanted to touch on briefly in this episode. We talked last week about the Cardinals were doing a fan vote, and you were seeing in all the comments that existed out there on social media that the Navy caps, the fans were clamoring for that to be brought back into their uniform set. And the fan vote seems to have dredged that up just as we thought it might.
Yeah, so the Cardinals announced that Navy Caps coming back on the road, and they've already brought them back since our last episode. They wore them for the first time on August the 14th at Wrigley Field, and I gotta say, they look as fantastic as I remember them. I'm so glad they're back. And this is again something we talked about last week, where it makes more sense for the Cardinals to wear cardinal red caps exclusively. But these just look so good, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
It could be because I just like navy blue
Sure.
as that's just a color I love on everything. That's why the website is navy blue. And yeah, it just looks great. And again, it's what the Cardinals wore when I was growing up. They used to wear them exclusively, right? Like in the 50s and 60s all the time. And then they brought them back for the Cardinals' 100th anniversary in 1992. They wore navy blue caps on the road and wore them until 2012. 20, is that 20 years? 92 to, yeah, the 20 years they wore navy blue. After that, they started wearing them only. I love this, by the way. I love the Cardinals started only wearing navy blue caps on the road when they were playing a team that wore red caps.
Okay.
I think that's fun
It
that
does
another
show an
team.
awareness of, what the game looks like on the field.
Hmm.
I'm compelled to point out, Chris, that in
Hmm.
announcing this on social media, the St. Louis Cardinals started with the best fans in baseball have spoken. And then they say starting this weekend will be
Yeah,
returning to
the
Navy Caps.
yeah. You sent me a message the other day. You're like, "Hey, Chris, the best fans in baseball are doing the wave."
In the seventh inning of a
The
nothing
seventh.
nothing game.
God. You
Yes,
are
the
a Phillies
best.
fan. You're still sore about Scott Rowland, I think.
I'm sore
Um,
about 2011 in the playoffs, that's for sure.
but the Cardinals dashed the dreams of Texas Ranger fans everywhere shortly after. So I was pretty cool with 2011.
That was some World Series. Incredible. Incredible the
Mm.
twists and turns that series took.
We love
Um,
World Series with twists and turns and teams blowing 3-2 leads, don't we?
oh my God.
Let's move off the
Uh,
Cardinals before I go
let's move off
nuts.
the Cardinals. Let's talk about the Chicago White Sox. This is not something that we talked about last week. The White Sox are bringing back their South Side uniforms in honor of an iconic franchise player.
Yeah, and I just hope Jose Ramirez isn't at the game because that wouldn't be cool. Yeah, so the White Sox are bringing back their Southside City Connect uniforms. They haven't worn them since 2024, although they have been an official alternate uniform since then. They just haven't worn them. These were one of the very first City Connect uniforms to come out, and dare I say, the first City Connect uniform unveiled where everyone said, "Ooh,
Hmm.
okay, I like where
Yeah.
this program's going." This is where the White Sox wore like a head to toe black uniform with it was like a reverse pinstripe type look. It
Yeah.
had South Side written across the front in the same font as the Sox logo. It just looked really cool. And
Yeah.
you had the dark pants with the dark jersey, which caught a lot of people off guard at first. But once you saw them on the field, you thought, okay, this feels like a White Sox uniform. This feels like it,
Hmm.
it really represents this team and this city quite appropriately. And again, at the time, it was, I just wish they'd say White Sox across the front or Chicago instead of South Side. But, the White Sox fans really embraced this. They liked it. And honestly, I was a little upset to see them replace it with the Chicago Bulls lookalike uniforms. I'm not a fan of those.
No, those are goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look nice as standalone uniforms, but as a Chicago White Sox uniform, it's kind of
Right.
silly.
Right.
So I'm glad to see the White Sox bringing these back. I hope they start wearing them more regularly and not just whenever they need to honor a recently retired player. And I say very recently retired because, they wore these from 21 to 24. Like that's a very small window of of players you can honor with these.
Right.
Yeah, just bring them back as a regular alternate. I remind White Sox fans that these Southside uniforms being in the rotation are the reason why those 1983 pullover throwbacks are gone. The
Mm.
White Sox chose to bring these forward instead of those 83s.
Oh.
So if you're going to kill an 83 popular uniform, at least wear them, right? Like, hmm?
Have we said out loud that that Tim Anderson is the player that they are honoring with
Yes.
these uniforms? Okay.
Yes, I made fun of the fact that Jose Ramirez punched him in the face a couple years ago.
Okay. Well, I wanted to make sure we actually said
Get
Tim
him.
Anderson's name out loud.
Oh, did we?
This
Everyone knew who we were talking about.
this uniform is one that I like very much, and I think it is an interesting outcome of the City Connect program that you would see a uniform like this that is meant to be a City Connect, it's meant to be sort of a part of a different program that could be, it's enough of a part of that team's identity. It's close enough to that team's identity that could be incorporated as just an alternate uniform within the
Mhm.
White Sox larger brand rather than a standalone City Connect jersey. I love that. I think that that is a City Connect success story when I see that. I don't mean to always harp on this, but I feel like the Phillies City Connects, I can't wait for them to be gone, right? Like I just they never caught on. I kind of like the Liberty Bell cap, but like the whole uniform
Mhm.
set like does not feel like Philly stuff. I always there have been times where I've gone to a Friday night game and I see the Fanatic wearing the City Connect uniform and I'm like, what have you done to the Fanatic? Like how dare you? So the Phillies uniform is not a success. The Tampa Bay Rays very much a success. Like what they've done
Yeah,
with their City
looks great.
Connect, their most recent one, absolutely should be incorporated into the larger set once they cycle that one out. The South Side one, I feel like is exactly that. I feel like this uniform belongs as part of the larger White Sox identity from here on out.
And we kind of touched on this a few weeks ago when the Reds unveiled their new City Connects for
Yeah.
this year. And the Reds are a team where their fan base has embraced their
Hmm.
old City Connect uniform. They decided to make that an alternate. The Red Sox are another team that did the same thing. But uh, I feel City Connect is working as a great way for very traditionally designed teams to try something different, and then they can float the ideas, oh, this is just a City Connect, don't worry, it's no big deal. And
Hmm.
then, by the end of the cycle, the fans have embraced it. They've accepted it, and now it gives them an excuse. Hey, we can actually change this, and it won't be the end of the world.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a soft launch. Like I think right now, the Cincinnati Reds could logically get rid of the wishbone seat
Hmm.
for the City Connect uniform. for
Yeah.
that new C, just because it seems to be so popular in Cincinnati, which is an idea that it was absolutely bonkers 5 years ago that the
Right.
Reds would ever get rid of that. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying they are, but I think that it's something that would be much more easily accepted now than it would have been 5 years ago or even three
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And we talk about teams like the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, forget about going back to the 98 look. Like, they should just build an entire identity around this City Connect set, right? Like,
Right.
you don't need to go back. You don't need to keep blue and yellow as the color scheme. You have something here that's very unique
Yeah.
that fans love.
Yeah.
My only complaint with it is the black on black lettering,
Yeah.
but they fixed the numbers with that this year.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
got this cool, Ray Bridge logo that represents the region nicely, uniquely,
Yeah.
that they're wearing on the caps. Like, go for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
embrace this all the way. You don't need to go back to 98 to a losing team just because, retro is in. It's
Yeah.
not always going to be in. But what will be in for a while is mixing together different elements of your identity. And the
Yeah.
City Connect uniform for the Rays is kind of like that. It's
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
cool. You're a new team. You don't have a lot of history. I say new, they're 30 years old, but they're
Right.
newish. And you could really experiment. People love it. Go for it. You got the neon colors and like, come
Yep.
on, let's
Yeah.
go.
I mean, there's no
Um,
team newer than them, right? Like, so it's
that's unless you count Washington.
uh yeah,
Does
I
that
guess you
count?
you probably
I,
should count Washington. Yes, that's
yeah,
a good point.
and the
Um
Sacramento A's.
that's right. Another team that's done that, I feel like that their City Connects could become part of their just brand is Seattle. I like Seattle's City Connects with the black pants and the sort of
Yeah,
mixing together of different eras. Here's one that is a City Connect that I really like that has no relationship to the team's existing identity, but that I feel like should stick around long term. I really like the Green Monster Boston Red Sox City
mm.
Connects, and I think that that could be just an alternate for them forever rather than a standalone City Connect.
Yeah. Boston's a weird case, right?
Yeah,
Because I really don't like the look of the yellow and blue
no,
because it is so off the wall for the Red Sox. It means a lot to the city,
right,
and they incorporated it as an alternate jersey because
yeah,
of that.
yeah,
But Boston already has their Boston Strong
right,
white uniforms that say Boston across the front. To me, that works better as a Boston pride uniform, something to
hmm,
be very
hmm,
proud of the city.
yeah,
This green Fenway Park uniform, right? Green is, believe it or not, green is nowhere to be found in the Boston Red Sox color scheme,
right,
nor has it ever,
right,
right?
yeah,
But green is such a huge, huge, huge color when it comes to the history of the Boston Red Sox
yeah,
because of Fenway Park, right? They've
right,
played at Fenway Park for over 100 years.
yeah,
It's always been green. They have the green monster. Their mascot is
hmm,
green, and it's like
hmm,
it's like a unique shade of green, right? That
yeah,
feels
right,
very
yeah,
it feels very Fenway. Like, you could probably call it Fenway green and get away with
right.
that.
When that
So in this case, yeah, when I first saw that uniform though, Paul, I thought it was a Boston Celtics tribute uniform, to be
Oh,
honest.
interesting. Yeah.
But,
Different green for sure.
now when you see it though, I think it's because
Yeah,
of the yellow, right? Did they have a yellow
sure.
number on it or
They did because of from the scoreboards on
yeah.
and the
So
walls.
when I saw the green and yellow, I go, "Oh, they're honoring the Celtics." But
To me, really good design is coming up with something new that feels like it should have been there all along. And
yeah,
that's what these uniforms felt like to me, right? Like that
yeah.
that when I saw those uniforms, I was just like, God, like how were they not here all our
Hmm.
lives?
So here's a question for you based on that is if the Red Sox decide, let's say the Red Sox say, let's make the green Fenways a full-time alternate uniform. Let's get rid of the yellows. Do you incorporate green into their existing home and road sets?
Oh, that's interesting. No, no, I would leave that alone because it's a classic identity. I think that the Green Monster City Connects could just be part of the rotation, but I wouldn't introduce that color into the existing uniforms that they already have.
Yeah, and well, anytime you get red and green together,
Right,
the
exactly. The Christmas uniforms.
Christmas, yeah. So no, I agree with you, and it
Yeah,
makes for an interesting story. It's like,
yeah.
why is this one uniform completely different from all the others?
Right,
No,
right, right.
it has a very special, unique place
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the Red Sox identity.
yeah. If you're the Diamondbacks, you can get away with we're just going to take every color that we've ever worn and mash it into one uniform, and somehow it looks okay.
Yeah.
And then the next night we're going to wear beige and black Serpientes uniforms, which also somehow feel like part of the set, right? Like, I mean, the Diamondbacks can get away with that. I would not do that if I were the Red Sox. The Rays can get away with it too, a little bit.
I hope the Red Sox never wear purple and teal uniforms like the Serpientes.
Like a what should have been from the 90s, maybe.
No, what should have never been, ever.
If the Red Sox had been introduced in 1998, what would they have looked like?
Hopefully they'd be
Let's
red with a name like that. That's all. I mean,
You would hope. You would
yeah,
hope. But it was the 90s and teal was the law.
yeah.
All right, so Chris, we've got lots still to talk about here. I know that we've got some YouTube comments. I've got a minor league minute coming up, and then I have a
Hmm.
couple trivia questions for you, Chris, about the number 25.
Trivia
And then, of
question.
course, we've got a special segment queued up about the Bridgeport Islanders. So we've got some work to do to get all of this in. So let's jump ahead here to some YouTube comments. What are the listeners
Well,
saying?
YouTube comments. Oh boy. I did ask for more comments because last week we only had two.
Hmm.
This week we had a bunch.
Oh boy, here
So
we go.
I did promise to read all of them. We might go through these quickly.
All right.
Uh, I'm a man of my word. So here we go. At Dilly5589, he thanks us for the shout out, and he points out that he works early mornings in a grocery store. So I think that's when he listens to our show. We talked about where people are listening,
That's
and
right.
yeah, we said they're reaching for the bananas. Um, I also at Dilly5589, I worked in a grocery store for 4 years when I was a teenager. So I
Nice.
feel you. He continues, I know I'll get made fun of for bringing up an old topic. Never, by the way. That's all we do around
We
here is
already
bring
talked
up
about
old
the
topics.
CFL uniforms.
But my little league used to give us new hats every year, and they would only buy new uniforms every 2 years. So back in 1994, they gave us the Brewers original royal blue pinstripe jerseys, I guess from 93, but they had the new 94 navy green Notre Dame caps to go with them. That, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like Hall of Fame weekend
Yes.
mixing and matching that Major League Baseball is doing. Yeah, he points out that whoever, the team, the Houston Astros team in the Little League he played in, got it even worse because they were wearing Tequila Sunrise jerseys with that gold star cap from the mid 90s together, which again sounds like Cooperstown. That's what they should do for Little League weekend or Players Weekend in Major League Baseball is they should mix and match,
Right.
ridiculous caps and jerseys just like Little Leaguers
Yeah.
do.
My little league, we used major league team names, but the identities had nothing to do with them. So I played, you'll love to hear this. I played on the Mets,
Oh,
but it was just a yellow jersey and it said Mets across the front. And then it was a yellow hat with like no markings. So it was just an all yellow Mets uniform.
okay. That reminds me of the Bad News Bears, right? When they were all named for teams, but their logos and uniforms really had nothing to do with the major league team.
Very similar vibe, although our uniforms did not say Chico's bail bonds on them.
They could have, if you guys played a little harder.
And
At Kilo One, our Chicago Dogs fan, he is just stunned, Paul, at you. He's actually disappointed
oh
that
boy,
you did not bring up the biggest news in minor league baseball, which is that the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders have announced the retirement of their name for next season. The Rail
yeah,
Riders name is gone.
yeah.
He's right, Paul. I'm also disappointed in you for not bringing that up. But to be fair, you've had a busy few weeks.
It's
Do you want to talk about that quickly, or what's going on with the Rail Riders?
It is interesting news. They've been the Rail Riders for more than a decade. They have they have a weird mashup brand where they've got like a porcupine riding. He's like a porcupine engineer, but the porcupine is the train on some railroad tracks. And the reason they've matched those two things together is they were the top two finishers in the name the team contest. And they were like, well, we could do porcupines or we could do something with the railroad. And then Brandy Oast was just like, I have an idea. And they matched them together. Yeah, so it's sort of surprising. It had not been the scuttlebutt. I don't know if this was one of the teams that was purchased by Diamond Baseball Holdings. They've been rebranding a certain number of teams that they've been purchasing. But yeah, they're going to rebrand. As you know, since minor league baseball was taken over by Major League Baseball, it's a much longer process to rebrand an affiliated team. So this has
Mhm.
been in the works for at least a year, and I have not heard peep about it. I will say that the designers who I speak to regularly take the confidentiality of their work very seriously. And so even people who are close personal friends are not going to reveal this sort of thing to me. So this news caught me off guard as well. And I have not done anything on the site for it yet, just because we don't know anything about, like a name the team contest or anything like that coming up. I can't imagine there's going to be a name the team contest unless it is another completely fake one, which many of them are, because
Another completely fake one.
they're all, I think name the team contests are, all rigged. But I mean, my reason for saying that is anything that they're already doing is well into the approval process.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so anything they did publicly, like what should be called, they already know what they're going to be called.
So this whole story of them taking their top two, well, possibly rigged, as you say, the top two finalists to combine and become the Rail Riders. All I can think about in my head is that Simpsons episode where they go to the fancy restaurant and they say, "Bring me your finest food stuffed with your second finest food." And the waiter says, "Very good, sir. Lobster stuffed with tacos." At Tim Loblaw, 6128, he says, "Hey, it's Bob's brother Tim here."
Blah, blah, blah's law blog.
Blah, 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 blah. And I've brought this up a few times, Paul, that Loblaws is a big, big grocery store chain up here in Canada. So that is a name we see everywhere. He's complimenting us on another fantastic episode. Thanks, Tim. And it's the third, perhaps, or fourth in a row in which the CFL got mentioned. Hey, let's go for another, the CFL uniforms. Yay.
They should wear all white and they should play in the winter.
Yes, thank you. Well done. Another 5 mentions, and it'll be like you featured a team a week. There you go. For example, could you critique how the BC Lions are wearing 3 different variations of the BC word mark on their sideline apparel, the new logo, and in brackets he put ugh.
Oh,
How do you spell ugh? Exactly.
I
as
would
it
go
sounds.
UGH.
You got it.
All right.
The classic monogram, yay, he says,
All right.
and
Okay.
the interlocking BC word mark as seen on the front of their helmets. Yeah, I'm going to definitely critique that. The Lions recently updated their logo, and what they did was they changed the style, the BC on their logo, and it's just like a boring, soulless
Mm.
modernization for the sake of modernization, and it's just, I don't know why they did it. The one they had before, yeah, it looked a little dated, but at least it was there dated. It kind
Mhm.
of followed the team around for a few decades, and let's just change to change, I guess, is the way they thought. I'm certain they're going to change back at some point. And yeah,
I'd like
I
to
mean,
see
if you're,
them. I'd like to see them, and this will be the second week in a row that I bring up this team on the podcast. I'd like to see them wear the defunct Brevard County Manatees logo with their
it's,
interlocking BC.
it's probably not going to happen, but I like the way your mind works, Paul. It's
Do
madness
you?
over there in your empty, soulless, staged house that you're broadcasting from.
I feel like I need a newspaper with today's date on it so you can tell that I'm actually a sign of life.
I would dismiss it as AI. Um, but yeah, I mean, this seems like an obvious one. If you're going to go through the trouble of modernizing your logo for absolutely no reason, you should at least make all of your sideline apparel match. Get with the program. What are you, BC Lions? A little league team in the mid 90s?
Yes.
Get your act together.
Wear yellow caps.
Yes, there you go. And Tim, Mr. Loblaw also asks if the House Hippo reference makes our podcast eligible for CanCon status from the CRTC. That is an extremely Canadian question, and the answer is it should, but probably not.
I went back and watched some of those commercials. They are very well done, and they're very cute. I like the cat sitting there watching the house hippo like eating potato chips off the floor. It's very funny.
And bringing this up again reminded me of my favorite part of the House Hippo commercial, which is where you see little tracks of peanut butter because he got into the peanut butter. CanCon just for your reference, Paul, is a policy we have in Canada in which Canadian produced media companies need to produce original Canadian content to a certain percentage in order to be eligible for certain grants and such. We get no such grants here, even though I'm pretty sure we talk more about Canadian things here than any other show on the internet.
Mm. With the possible exception of there's 2 Canadian comedians who do a podcast called Stop Podcasting Yourself, and they're approaching like 1,000 episodes. They've been around
Okay.
forever. I've been listening to them a long time, and so I was actually familiar with CanCon because of Stop
Oh,
Podcasting Yourself.
nice. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I used to like catching how channels would get around CanCon laws back in the day. So like they would show a commercial advertising an American show,
Uh-huh.
and then at the very bottom in tiny letters, it would say, and also, and some Canadian show is on at 10:15. Gone. There, we did it. CanCon. Um, and we do that because America is such a huge influence on us. We need to assert our own individuality at somehow. At Winnext asked if the Twins did wear, this is talking about the Field of Dreams game uniform last week. If
Yeah.
the Twins did wear a Washington Senators inspired 1939 throwback, they wouldn't have much to work off of, as that year Washington wore uniforms that were completely blank, except
Wow.
for a W on the cap. That's a very fair point.
But it
So
would have been cool, right? Like
that
imagine a
would have
Major
been
League
cool.
Baseball team wearing that right now.
So you know what? This is what they do. They wear the blank uniforms because it still works for Minnesota. And then you
Yeah.
turn the W upside down on the cap. Boom.
Chris, how are
Hire
you
me.
not a millionaire Major League Baseball executive coming up with these ideas?
It's because I'm just too real. They
You're
can't
too
handle me.
real and Canadian.
And Canadian. They don't have CanCon laws in Major League Baseball. At Michael Makowski 12 says he appreciates us goading him into commenting with the Pat Patriot reference in the last
Nice.
episode. Yeah. And for that, you both get a thesaurus. Oh, great. I need one.
Wow.
A
Wait a minute.
physical
If you get a
printed
thesaurus, does
thesaurus.
that mean you have the one you confiscated from me and the new one? Or
I
do I
sold
just
it.
get mine back? Oh, you
It's
sold
gone.
it.
I sold it.
All right.
With the Islanders uniform contest underway, which of the eight do you guys like or prefer? And there is a correct answer since one of them is my design. Oh, that's exciting, Michael
Wow.
Makowski. I wish I read these comments before we started planning our episode this week because Paul and I should we talk about the Islanders contest? And we thought we'd wait till the winner was announced next week.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to wait till the winner is
Let's
announced so
wait.
we can go
Yeah.
into a little bit more.
Yeah.
Michael, I don't know which one's yours, but good luck to you. I hope yours wins.
I hope
I'm
it has a
pretty sure.
lighthouse.
Yeah, I hope yours is the one at the lighthouse because that's the only
Yeah.
one of the two that I really like that's left. I'm pretty sure the Islanders are announcing the winner in between these two episodes, so
Okay.
uh, we'll know by then. And hopefully, Michael, I hope you get paid. That's all I hope.
Right. Don't work on
Yeah.
spec.
No. At Jeremy Motley, who's been a longtime follower of the website, but I think this might be a first time comment on him. He says that he was actually in the grocery store, Costco to be exact, in the produce section when we advised him that the bananas were not ripe. I knew that would work on somebody.
I
I knew
love
we'd
this.
get somebody. You can imagine my confusion as I was currently looking at strawberries at the time.
Oh, sorry about that.
We were
Yeah.
close. We had the right
Yeah.
department.
They were a little overripe, actually.
The strawberries were
The
overripe.
strawberries were, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to avoid picking up strawberries that are past their prime.
The password, Laser PDB, says, how can you take 2 minutes out of the podcast to talk about the American house hippo, or in français, as he points out, the hippo de famille en français,
Oh.
but you don't mention the Bridgeport Islanders and Mr. Password. I, again, don't know what you're talking about. I don't know
Yeah, we've
who
got a
the
whole
Bridgeport
segment planned on
Islanders
them for
are.
this episode.
Yeah,
Stand
they're on
by.
the list.
They're
Come
on the
on, just
docket.
be, you got to be patient.
Yeah.
You got to be patient.
Yeah.
This is the last comment we got here. And I love it because for it to follow the password is just perfect timing here. At Juan Jose Sanchez Bracamontes
All right.
says, I know my name's really long, so just call me Al. Thank you.
Nice.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. I'd like your opinion on the following. Do you think a team that relocates, this is a classic question, Paul.
Yeah.
I know exactly where this is going. Do
Yeah.
you think a team that relocates should lose its name, reinvent its identity, and start fresh in the new city? Or do you agree with the franchise taking its name along to the new location? Personally, I think they should leave the names in the original cities in case they ever get a franchise again, they can use it to avoid the kind of issues we've seen with Houston and Tennessee, where Houston loves the Oilers' names and Tennessee seems to only be interested in the name's commercial potential. And he wishes us some greetings from Mexico. Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your question. I have an answer, but I've been talking a lot, so I'll let Paul go ahead and take
Chris, I
this
think
one.
we disagree on this. And I actually just this morning, for the Baseball by Design podcast, I had a conversation with Todd Radom for a forthcoming episode on the Montreal Expos. We had this conversation. Should a relocating team leave its name in that city. And I think it ties into the conversation that you and I have had about, is it appropriate for a team like the Washington Nationals to wear retro Expo stuff on the field? I know that you and I disagree on this. I feel like those brands should be retired and left in the hearts of the fans who cheered those teams on. I feel like it's too much of a dagger in the hearts of the fans who cheered for those teams with the teams now in new cities. I don't mean to speak for you, but I know that you appreciate seeing those brands still alive and being used and on the field in a real way. I can appreciate that stance, but I am firmly in the camp that the team name belongs to the city.
I have come around a little bit on this, I think. I think this whole kerfuffle between Houston and Tennessee, and now we're seeing potential problems now with Seattle getting an NBA expansion team, and we've seen issues in the NHL with the Winnipeg Jets and all of that, and in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns and the Charlotte Hornets. It just goes on and on and on and on about all these potential problems that come up. I think at this point, Paul, this is my current stance. Okay, I'm making a stance here. I think that names, logos, and franchise histories should remain with the city. I'm going with that now.
Mm,
This is a big change for me.
yeah.
However,
Oh,
until that city comes back, the team that relocated from that city is permitted to wear the old logos and uniforms as a tribute
all right.
on an
So,
occasional, anniversary basis or whatever. But like, I I don't know if I like the Hurricanes wearing this every year, because now it feels the Carolina Hurricanes wearing the Hartford Whalers uniforms every year, because now that
yeah,
feels a little exploitative.
right.
Whereas what the Colorado Avalanche did this year in the NHL, their 30th anniversary since moving from Quebec, then they wore the Nordiques uniforms. Okay, that feels appropriate. We're honoring our past because it's the 30th anniversary, et cetera, et cetera. Where the Whalers is, the Hurricanes is like, let's come out with the new Whalers uniform every year and let's wear it, and now we're not wearing them against, teams that make sense. And, the first time the Hurricanes did it, they wore the Whalers throwbacks in Boston,
Hmm.
close to where Hartford was. That,
Yeah.
okay, okay, we're paying tribute. We're letting the fans see it again. I can see that as of course there's money tied to all this stuff, but at least it was like, yeah, there's money tied to it, but at least you're trying to do it in the most appropriate way possible.
Yeah.
Um, Now it's not, it's
Yeah.
we're having Whalers nights, and now it's like 3 times a year, and now it's a new Whalers uniform every year,
Yeah.
and now we're playing Whalers against the Kings. Everyone remember that rivalry, Hartford versus Los Angeles? No.
Now, in
Yeah,
this scenario, suppose the Oklahoma City Thunder wanted to do a Supersonics throwback.
there we
They
go.
could do that until Seattle gets a team back. But what if Seattle doesn't go with Supersonics with their name? What if Seattle is like, we're the fishmongers now? And so that Supersonics name is just out there.
I would say, first of all, Oklahoma City never, ever, ever do that. Like,
Okay.
that would
Definitely, right? Like, how wrong would that feel?
Seattle would lose its mind. I think,
Yes.
you got to do it on a franchise by franchise basis, because
Yeah.
obviously there's, I I think in that scenario, if, say Seattle comes back, they don't take the Supersonics name, I would say, even though they don't take back the name, Seattle still assumes the rights to throw back to the Supersonics when they want. And at that point, even though they never would, Oklahoma City would say lose the privilege to do so.
All
This,
right.
yes, we're
It's a
we're
good question.
building we're building procedure and
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
the
That's
fly
a
here.
great question, though. I like it.
Well, thanks everyone for writing in your comments there, and please keep them coming in. We'll read them every week, unless there's like 100 comments, then we might start filtering them. But as of now, 9. That's a record, I think. So
Yeah.
way to go.
Also true of leaving us a comment, rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts. We'll read those
Yes,
comments as well.
please do. All right, Paul, now that the comments are done, there's only, well, a few more things left to do, but most importantly, it is time for Paul Caputo's Minor League Minute with Paul Caputo, starring the one and only Paul Caputo.
It's the minor league minute with Paul Caputo. Paul Caputo. It's a minor league minute with Paul Caputo. Paul Caputo. It's a minor league minute with Paul Caputo.
I'm quoting all over the place here. Chris, this week we are talking about the El Paso Chihuahuas, who debuted in 2014 with a little rascally Chihuahua character. The team is actually named for the nearby desert, though they incorporated the actual Chihuahua dog into their branding. He is a tough, grimacing guy with ripped ears and a collar with pointy metal studs on it. So he's kind of a tough guy representing the sort of gritty nature of the city of El Paso. You'll be forgiven if you thought, hey, we're going to have a Paris Hilton night, and hey, it's this tiny little yippy dog. The reaction in El Paso was very much like that when they debuted. It was like, what in the world are we looking at? The design firm Brandios that created this said that this had the most severe J curve that they have ever experienced, and that is the immediate negative reaction followed by an upswing positive reaction. It's hard to believe that this team was ever not around now. It feels like a staple of minor league baseball. Every night is Bark in the Park night, Chris. I actually don't know if that's true in El Paso. One last thing. I saw a guy on the airplane from Philadelphia to Denver yesterday wearing an El Paso Chihuahuas cap. I commented on it. He said, you're the first person ever to comment on this hat and to know what that team was. I was very proud to know that. Chris, your minor league minute, the El Paso Chihuahuas.
This is what I remember with the Chihuahuas coming out.
Yeah.
First of all, this was in an era of when it seems like such a tame name now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, Chihuahua seemed like a really wacky, off-the-wall minor league baseball name.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was to come, Paul. We didn't know.
No, we sure didn't.
But we thought it was so wild, and I kind of rolled my eyes at it like, oh, it's getting ridiculous. But I do recall writing the article, trying to memorize how to spell Chihuahua.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, to this day, I still know how to spell Chihuahuas. So,
very good.
Thank you very much, El Paso Chihuahuas. Shortly after they came out, they introduced like a special promotional jersey where it was just a giant photo of a Chihuahua head. Do you remember this?
I do. It's in the article. It's in the story behind the nickname article on the website.
And I loudly criticized that. I said something like, this is just getting like, who in the right mind would again, looking back on it, it was just fun. But at the time I was just so like jaded with all this minor league baseball stuff happening.
Yeah.
And the president of the team actually reached out to me and said something like, hey, it's just a little bit of fun. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. What am I talking about? It's fun. Why am I complaining?
I had something like that happen, Chris, where there was when the Mariners made the playoffs for the first time, they broke a long streak. The Savannah Bananas had just played there. And there was a dude in the stands, like openly weeping at the Mariners making the playoffs, wearing a Savannah Bananas hat. And I was just like, yeah, I must be a huge fan wearing a Savannah Bananas hat. And somebody called me out. They're like, who are you to criticize what he's wearing? Or questioning what he's feeling. And they were 100% right. I was just like, I'm not the gatekeeper of what people wear to the Mariners game when when their teams make it. Like, if he wants to wear bananas, wear bananas. And so I said that. I said that on social media. I was just like, you're absolutely right. That's who am I to say that?
Paul Caputo, gatekeeper of Mariners merchandise.
I'll gatekeep Cardinals fans doing the wave and calling themselves the best fans in baseball. But
no fans should be doing the wave in the 8th inning
of a nothing game, Chris. So
anyway. You know what fans doing the wave are? Those are bored fans.
They are bored fans. Well, I will defend fans' rights to do the wave if their team is losing like 9-0 and they've gotten 2 hits and like they have to resort to entertaining themselves.
Yes.
Then go ahead and do the wave. But if it's a close game and you should be paying attention, then doing the wave is prohibited.
Again, Paul, they're the best fans in baseball. So maybe we're all the ones doing something wrong.
I'm surprised when you said we had a bunch of comments. I was assuming it was going to be Cardinals fans ripping me.
They don't listen to the show. They're too busy watching baseball and practicing the wave.
Yeah. All right, Chris. I have, as promised, 2 trivia questions for you.
All right, let's go.
Sometimes you get players who wear the number briefly, but it's not the number you associate them with. So I'm going to ask you, which of these players never wore number 25?
This isn't the logo related. I just like to point this out to everyone.
It's number 25 related. Steve Carlton, Willie Randolph, or George Brett? One of those players never wore number 25.
In their major league career?
Major league career.
I'm just like, I can't picture George Brett wearing anything other than 5, so I'm just going to say George Brett.
George Brett wore it for 2 years.
Did he? 2 whole years.
Steve Carlton is the answer.
I should have picked the Philly. I should have just picked the Phillies player.
George Brett wore number 25 in 1973 and 1974.
I had no idea, but now I'll never forget it, just like spelling Chihuahuas.
Yeah. And Willie Randolph for 1 season in 1976.
Did you know Willie Randolph played for the Pirates for a couple of weeks?
No, I did not know that.
It's before he moved on to bigger things. I had a Willie Randolph baseball glove when I was a kid. That was my glove.
That's awesome. The 2 things
years.
I know how to spell thanks to minor league baseball are Albuquerque and semi-quincentennial.
I'll never get Albuquerque. ALBQUERQUE.
I didn't follow, but you missed some letters. ALBUQUERQUE. Chris, what player wore the number 25 for the most years? Your multiple choices are Jim Thome, Tommy John, and Rafael Palmeiro.
Holy. Well, of those 3 players, Tommy John played the longest by far, but did he wear 25 the longest? I'm going to tap into the mind of Paul here. I'm going to channel Paul. I'm going to say you picked a Tommy John because we lost him recently, and I'm going to pick Tommy John as the man who wore the number 25 the longest. Lock it in.
You are absolutely correct. Tommy John wore number 25 for 24 seasons.
Incredible.
And this was a hard question, right? Because Jim Thome and Rafael Palmeiro wore it the second and third longest. They wore it for 21 and 20 seasons. So this wasn't like, Tommy John, Derek Lee, and Byron Buxton, right? Like this was, you had to suss out who that was, and you got it. So you went 1-1, Chris.
I'm interested in finding out. I want to put together a list, Paul, of players who wore the same number for more than 20 years. I think that'd be a neat list to see. Yeah,
that would be a good list. Well, number 25 has 3 players. Next episode, Chris, is going to be number 26 on your 26th birthday on August 26th.
I wish it was my 26th birthday. That'd be fantastic. Maybe I can go back.
All right. But your birthday is on the 26th.
It is. I like episode 26 on the 26th, which is my birthday in the year 26. So we got 26 fever here. And if you add 2 and 6 together, you got 8, and it's the 8th month. I don't know. There's going to make a Jim Carrey movie about this, I think.
Wow. A lot of numerology here. So, Chris, apologies to all of our listeners who count on this being out first thing in the morning on Wednesdays. It'll be out later in the day this Wednesday. And, no more surgery and not that much more travel for me. So I am taking my daughter back to college at American University next week. So that won't interfere with us, though.
Well, during that road trip of yours, Paul, you can work on content for the Bridgeport Islanders because I think we ran out of time to talk about them again.
Shoot, the Bridgeport Islanders. I have this whole story queued up here, Chris. Well, next time we're out of time. In the meantime, Chris, I'm glad to see you off the IL, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you later, everyone, when I'll be a whole year older.
Oh, my God.